Arthur sits bored in his office as Roy introduces Mari to him, the newest robot maid. Curious about the invention, he decides to take a closer look. He praises the creator, clearly impressed with the model, but insists he still needs to examine the robot thoroughly. As he approaches her, the clock in the room suddenly explodes, filling the office with smoke. People scramble to find a fire extinguisher, but Arthur's eyes remain fixed on the robot. He notices that Mari doesn't flinch at the explosion. He concludes that she really is mechanical and not a human pretending to be a machine. Spotting one of the maids nearby, he accuses her of being responsible for the exploding clock. His men immediately apprehend her and drag her away from the manor. Arthur then tells his men that there's someone watching from a nearby rooftop and orders them to eliminate the spy and remove the wiretap hidden on his desk. As he observes his subordinates deal with the assassin from afar, he can't help but think about how much he despises humans. Roy enters, carrying gifts and a bouquet, but freezes when a knife suddenly pops out of the flowers. Arthur doesn't seem surprised. He remarks that humans are selfish beings who will discard their morals just to get ahead in life, which is why he wanted a robot companion he could trust. Arthur's life hasn't been easy. Since childhood, his relatives have always been after his fortune, sending assassins and setting traps to eliminate him. Unable to trust even his own family, Arthur grew to despise people. He declares that the kind of people he hates the most are those who lie to him. Mari, the robot maid, listens silently. In truth, she's a martial artist known for her stoic and expressionless demeanor in battle. She's actually a human pretending to be a robot. Inside, Mari panics. She had no idea she was supposed to keep her human identity a secret, especially from a man who has such a deep hatred for humans. Arthur steps closer and Mari's anxiety spikes, thinking her cover has been blown. However, Arthur suddenly blushes and begins to gush over her. Feeling uncomfortable with their closeness, Mari quickly announces that she'll begin cleaning his room. He gently takes her hand and asks if he can call her Mari. She hesitantly agrees, confused by his sudden change in demeanor. In the break room, Roy reminds Mari of her duties as a robot maid and informs her that she'll be attending school with Arthur to protect him. He turns to check if Mari is listening, only to find her stuffing her face with food. Mari explains that she can only eat when Arthur is bathing. Deciding that Arthur must be done, she rushes out, making sure to finish Roy's share of food as well. While running, she adds that he should prepare her next meal with more protein. Roy watches her go, slightly worried that Mari's act might fail and that they'll both end up dead for lying to Arthur. The next morning, Arthur scolds one of his butlers for oversleeping. Mari can't help but think that he's strict and intimidating, yet everything he says makes sense. As they settle into the car, Arthur briefs her on their schedule. While listening, Mari realizes that Arthur's days are always packed either with studying or managing the company. He starts complaining about one of his business partners who lacks table manners. Mari silently confirms that Arthur is a harsh and terrifying individual, but she can't deny that he becomes surprisingly gentle when it comes to her. Arthur suddenly takes her hand and leans closer, telling Mari that he's learned her orders are to follow him around school and pretend to be human. He adds that if she ever finds herself in trouble, she can always come to him. When they finally arrive at school, Mari hides her excitement at being in such a grand academy. She studies the trophies and plaques on display and notices that almost all of them belong to Arthur. As she admires his achievements, two male students bump into her and scold her for blocking the hallway. In a robotic tone, she apologizes, which only offends them further since her voice sounds too cold and insincere. The boys find her strange and unsettling, but Mari isn't pretending. That's simply how she's always spoken. Even her mother could never understand why Mari's tone remains so distant, no matter what she did. Arthur suddenly appears behind her and sharply scolds the boys for harassing his maid. After they leave, Mari thanks him, and Arthur gently pats her head, saying he finds her expressionless voice and demeanor very cute. Arthur signals that it's time to leave, and Mari can't help but blush slightly since it's the first time she's received such a kind compliment. When they return home, they settle in Arthur's office, where a young man enters and greets Arthur with casual familiarity. Roy quietly whispers to Mari that the man is Maynard, Arthur's brother in name. Mari wonders if Maynard is also after Arthur's life and watches the two closely. The brothers exchange polite words of praise, but inwardly they're cursing each other. Despite their smiling faces and kind tone, both understand the venom behind the other's words. Roy seems to catch on to their unspoken hostility, but Mari, oblivious to the tension, assumes the two are simply close siblings who get along well. Maynard excuses himself to use the bathroom. Once in the hallway, he mutters curses under his breath, frustrated that Arthur is still alive. He freezes, however, when Mari suddenly appears behind him, pointing toward the restroom. Startled, Maynard scolds her sharply. When Mari apologizes, he doesn't believe her since her face shows no remorse. Mari explains that she's a robot and incapable of showing emotion. Intrigued, Maynard inspects her closely and notes that she truly doesn't flinch or react. Impressed, he remarks that Arthur has done well to acquire such a realistic robot, but questions his brother's tastes since Mari can't even smile. Mari insists that she can smile and immediately pulls the corners of her mouth with her fingers to form a wide grin. The result is so horrifying that Maynard runs away. Later that evening, Arthur sits in his office, gazing thoughtfully at the fountain outside. His mind drifts back to the day he decided to become the heir to the family business. His thoughts are interrupted when Mari enters, softly offering him a cup of tea. Noticing his distant expression, she assumes she's disturbed him at a bad time, but to her surprise, Arthur shyly asks if he can rest his head on her lap. She hesitates for a moment before allowing it. Arthur quickly settles in, remarking that her lap is hard due to her metal body. In truth, it's due to Mari's toned muscles. Getting comfortable, Arthur admits how lonely he feels, unable to trust anyone. Still, he's accepted this life, believing it's the price of being his father's valuable heir. Moved by his words, Mari softly promises that she'll always stay by his side and that he can trust her. Touched, Arthur allows himself to relax and drifts to sleep on her lap. Mari realizes she has a deep desire to protect Arthur and feels terrible that she must lie to him in order to do so. Later that morning, Arthur, Roy, and Mari wait by the driveway for the car that will take Arthur to his lectures. When it arrives, Roy notices that it's earlier than usual. He and Mari bid Arthur farewell as he gets in and drives off. A few moments later, another car pulls up in front of them. Realizing that the first car was a fake, Roy tells Mari to call the police, but when he looks beside him, she's already gone. Alarmed, Mari has taken off, sprinting down the road after the vehicle. Inside the car, Maynard climbs in and sees Arthur tied up. He smugly tells Arthur that the kidnapping was his idea, all because he found Mari irritating. He jokes that Arthur should hire a better maid next time, then laughs, saying there won't be a next time since Arthur will die today. Arthur feels annoyed since it's already the 168th time Maynard has sworn to kill him. Suddenly, a loud thud shakes the car. Everyone looks up to see Mari clinging to the windshield, announcing that she's arrived to pick up Arthur. Panic erupts inside as Maynard tries to calm his driver, insisting that Mari is just a robot and they shouldn't hesitate to shake her off. But she lands gracefully on her feet and resumes the chase, running at full speed. The car eventually stops at an abandoned house where Arthur is taken in. Maynard mocks him, asking if he has any last words before he dies, promising to take over the family business once Arthur is gone. Arthur, however, remains furious about how roughly Maynard treated Mari. Maynard laughs, mocking him for caring more about a robot than his own life. He sneers that Mari is probably broken. Arthur glares at him, vowing never to forgive him for what he's done to her. Maynard only mocks him further until he hears his own voice confessing to the crime. He turns to see Arthur smirking. One of Arthur's buttons is in fact a hidden spy camera. Arthur calmly explains that everything has been recorded and automatically uploaded to the cloud. It's only a matter of time before someone finds the video and the whole world learns exactly what Maynard has done. Maynard pales as the realization hits him that if he stays, it will solidify his involvement. So he speeds off, leaving two of his men behind to finish the job. The men hesitate at first, but then decide they have no choice since Arthur had already seen their faces. As Arthur braces himself for the inevitable, Mari bursts in, and in a swift blur of movement, she starts attacking the two grunts. The men flee in terror, leaving Arthur tied to a chair. Mari quickly unties him so they can get out. Neither of them notices the spilled gasoline and the lit cigarette smoldering nearby. Within seconds, the flames catch and spread rapidly. The building is suddenly engulfed in fire. Mari reacts instantly, realizing their escape route is blocked. She instructs Arthur to cover his mouth with his handkerchief to avoid inhaling too much smoke. Spotting a window, she tells him to use it as an exit, promising to lift him up. Arthur refuses at first, unwilling to leave her behind. But Mari insists, assuring him that she'll be fine and will find another way out once he's safe. A nearby explosion shakes the structure, making it difficult for them to see and breathe. Mari silently vows to make sure Arthur survives, even if it costs her life. Knowing he won't abandon her willingly, she decides to say what she's been holding back. She tells Arthur that she's truly enjoyed her time with him and that to her, he's someone very special. She lies that he shouldn't worry about her since her body is made of metal and can withstand the flames. She urges him to escape and find her later, saying she can simply be rebooted once she's recovered. Reluctantly, Arthur agrees and climbs out through the window. Once outside, he yells that he'll come back for her. Inside, Mari finally succumbs to the smoke, collapsing to the floor. As her consciousness fades, she feels guilty for lying to him, but grateful she was able to protect him until the end. When she opens her eyes again, she's shocked to find herself lying on a bed. Arthur sits beside her, explaining that he called Roy immediately and managed to save her in time, so there's no need for a reboot. Mari feels immense relief, though her face remains emotionless. Arthur studies her, tempted to ask about the smile she showed him at the building. He decides not to, much to Roy's quiet relief. Convincing himself that the smile was just a smoke-induced hallucination, Arthur accepts it. He tells himself that falling for Mari is pointless since she's a robot, and even if she weren't, someone like her would never love someone like him. On the day of the party, all the servants are busy making the final preparations. Arthur ends up scolding the servant in charge after discovering that several things are still unfinished, even though the servant had claimed everything was ready. Due to his strong dislike for liars, Arthur fires the man on the spot. Mari immediately fetches the missing chairs, earning praise from Arthur. In just a few moments, guests begin arriving at the garden where the party is being held. Mari looks around and realizes that everyone present is a well-known figure. Arthur tells her that this event is crucial, and he cannot afford any mistakes as his father's heir. Understanding the weight of his words, Mari promises to watch for any suspicious individuals who might try to ruin the evening. Arthur agrees but says he has an even more important task for her. Leaning in to whisper, he instructs her to get rid of all the bell peppers because he dislikes them. Mari agrees, determined to do it discreetly. Just then, Arthur's Aunt Charlotte calls out to him. Arthur greets his aunt and uncle with a bright smile. Mari watches curiously since she had assumed all of Arthur's relatives wanted him dead, yet Carl and Charlotte seem genuinely happy to see him. Roy quietly tells Mari that those two are the only family members who fully support Arthur. Charlotte comments that Arthur seems happier than usual and asks if something has happened. Proudly, Arthur declares that his company has made a breakthrough. They've finally created the perfect robot maid. He gestures toward Mari, showing her off. Charlotte is instantly captivated and steps closer to inspect her. The closer she looks, the more human Mari appears. Under Charlotte's sharp gaze, Mari starts to panic, feeling her cover might be blown. Acting quickly, Roy pulls her away under the pretense of assigning her more chores. Mari begins balancing several plates and carts away a tall tower of glasses, impressing the guests with her skill. As she works, Charlotte's cat suddenly darts toward the cart. Mari reacts swiftly, catching the cat midair and steadying the glasses before they topple. Carl praises Mari's remarkable balance, and Roy explains that she's equipped with an advanced shock absorber. The party continues smoothly. Mari quietly fulfills Arthur's strange request, removing the bell peppers by secretly eating them before the plates reach the tables. Unfortunately, she drops one without noticing. The cat spots the fallen bell pepper and begins to play with it. At one side of the garden, an intruder manages to slip past security, but before he can take another step, Mari swiftly knocks him unconscious. To be safe, she decides to patrol the rest of the estate for more suspicious individuals. As she searches, she suddenly senses someone directly behind her. Reacting on instinct, she grabs the person and throws him over her shoulder, only to discover that it's Arthur. She helps him and escorts him back to his office, where he rests his head on her lap. Arthur admits he only wanted to escape the crowd for a moment, exhausted from entertaining guests. As he relaxes, Mari gently pats his head, but she freezes when Arthur suddenly grabs her hand, pulls himself upright, and draws her close to thank her sincerely. Startled, Mari abruptly steps back. She announces that since he's recovered, she should return to her duties. Arthur watches her retreat with quiet disappointment. Neither of them notices that Charlotte has seen the entire exchange and her growing suspicion that Mari might not be a robot. Back in the garden, Mari struggles to calm her racing heartbeat, confused by her own reactions. Roy instructs her to serve water to the guests, but she accidentally drops and shatters a glass. When preparing another, she spills an entire pitcher on Roy. Sighing, Roy dismisses her for now, fearing she might blow their cover if she continues in this distracted state. Feeling guilty, Mari wanders to a secluded corner of the garden. Before turning the corner, she spots a man crouched down, fiddling with something. Realizing he's planting dynamite, Mari rushes forward, destroys the detonator, and kicks the man straight through the bushes. Unfortunately, she forgets that the party is being held on the other side of those same bushes. The guests gasp as Mari suddenly bursts through, knocking out a stranger in full view. Panic spreads until Arthur quickly steps out and announces that the man was not a guest but an intruder who was planning on detonating a bomb. He proudly declares that Mari had saved everyone. The guests erupt into applause, impressed by her quick thinking and bravery. Carl notes how deeply Arthur trusts Mari, while Charlotte quietly observes that perhaps Mari is the one who will teach Arthur to trust people again. From the rooftop, Maynard watches the praise below and curses in anger. As he rants about his impending revenge, he loses his footing and falls. Later that evening, Arthur stands on his office balcony, gazing at the view below. Mari finally appears, wearing the elegant dress he had chosen for her since he had wanted to see Mari in something different from her maid's uniform. Smiling, Arthur takes her hand and invites her to enjoy the rest of the evening with him. Unsure of herself, Mari pulls her hand back and bows apologetically, murmuring that she's sorry for almost ruining the party. Arthur tells Mari that she's worked very hard all day and even got rid of all the bell peppers just for him. He smiles, admitting he's truly grateful. Mari stares at Arthur quietly. A strange warmth spreads through her chest, and for the first time she feels an overwhelming urge to serve him forever. Arthur, unaware of her thoughts, muses aloud that it must be nice to be a robot since there is no need to eat. Curious, Arthur asks how she recharges. Panicking, Mary blurts out that she runs on a double a battery. There's no way anyone would believe that. But to her surprise, Arthur takes her seriously and gazes at her for a long moment before softly saying that tonight, she looks more like an actual girl. Before Mari can respond, Arthur leans in and plants a gentle kiss on her forehead. She abruptly pushes him away and bolts toward the greenhouse. She worries Arthur might have figured out her secret, as she's human. Outside, Roy keeps his silence, his own expression clouded with concern. The next morning, Mary steels herself for another day of work. She worries about facing Arthur after last night, but convinces herself that he couldn't have seen her expression clearly in the dark. Entering the dining room, she decides to tell him that a malfunction caused her to push him. She wheels in a cart of food and begins her routine. Arthur greets her warmly as if nothing had happened. Mary wonders if he's forgotten. When she fails to greet him back, Arthur frowns and questions her silence. Struggling to think of a response, Mary freezes, prompting Roy to panic as he watches from the sidelines. A fly suddenly buzzes past them, and both Arthur and Mari reach to catch it at the same time. Their faces end up inches apart, causing Arthur to blush while Mari panics internally, wobbling stiffly away in an effort to seem robotic. She mutters that Arthur is acting strange today, but he only tells her to bring coffee to his study. When she does, he can't help but watch her intently. As the day goes on, Arthur treats her more gently, offering to carry things and even reaching for her hand. Mari decides she must act more robotic to avoid suspicion, but Arthur only gazes after her, puzzled by her strange mechanical walk. In the break room, Roy calls Mari over and informs her that she is relieved of her duties effective immediately. He explains that Arthur has been growing suspicious of her since the previous day, and it's only a matter of time before her secret is exposed. Mari freezes, unable to process his words. Roy reassures her that he'll still look after her, but insists she must find work elsewhere before Arthur uncovers the truth. Mari struggles with the idea of leaving. She's grown fond of Arthur. Desperate, she pleads with Roy, promising to do her best not to get found out. Roy tells her that Arthur likes her a lot. If he ever finds out she's human, it will break him. He reminds her how much Arthur hates being lied to and reasons that lying to him must be hurting her as well. Mari realizes she is unable to argue. Roy continues, telling her that he's already arranged for her replacement with an actual robot maid. Moments later, Mari 2, the new model, rolls through the halls with mechanical precision until it reaches Arthur's study. Upon entering, it introduces itself as a more advanced version of Mari and immediately demonstrates its abilities by swiftly catching and disposing of a fly. Arthur stares at it in disbelief until Roy steps in beside the machine and explains that with Mari 2's enhanced combat and efficiency systems, she is the perfect maid to serve him. Meanwhile, the real Mari quietly packs what little she owns as Arthur tries out Mari 2's lap pillow function, complete with background music. At the gates, Roy urges Mari to leave quickly before Arthur notices. She promises to wash and return her uniform despite his insistence that she keep it. To her, the uniform is a symbol of everything she's about to lose, a reminder that she was never meant to stay by Arthur's side. Just as she's about to leave, Arthur appears, his expression a mix of confusion and anger. He demands to know what is happening and why she's being replaced all of a sudden. Mari uses her usual calm tone and explains that since there is a newer, better robot maid, it is time for her to step aside. But Arthur does not believe it. His frustration grows as he struggles to find the right words, trying to explain that he specifically wants her. Before anything else can be said, Mari 2 suddenly appears behind Arthur, its sensors locking onto Mari and identifying her as a threat. Mari tells Roy and Arthur to get away as the robot lunges forward. She manages to block the first strike but is quickly thrown backward by the sheer force. She quickly realizes Mari 2's strength far exceeds hers. As she braces for the final blow, Arthur dives in front of her, shielding her from the attack. Roy cries out in horror as Arthur is struck on the back. Overwhelmed by rage and desperation, Mari summons every ounce of strength left in her. With a fierce kick, she shatters Mari 2 clean in half, and the machine collapses to the ground. Arthur rushes over to Mari, his voice filled with concern as he tells her that he already knows everything. Roy stiffens in panic, fearing their secret is out. However, Arthur's understanding is far from the truth. He believes Mari had malfunctioned and that Roy prepared Mari 2 as her replacement. Arthur insists that he can pay for her maintenance costs, determined to keep her by his side. Mari quickly reassures him that there's no need, claiming she's already been fixed. Arthur smiles warmly, lifting her into his arms as he asks her to stay with him always. Mari quietly admits that she wants the same thing, and for a moment, the two are blissfully happy. Later in the kitchen, Roy thanks Mari for her efforts and for making Arthur finally smile again, something he hadn't done in a long time. Mari promises to continue working hard and to avoid any mistakes that might expose her identity. A fake mechanical sound echoes through the room. Mari turns to see Mari 2 entering the kitchen, gleaming and fully operational. The robot announces that it has been repaired and updated. Roy explains that he wants both Marys to work together to protect Arthur. Mari too politely expresses that it looks forward to working alongside her. Mari, however, can only stare silently at the real robot. One day, a group of men disguised as manor staff secretly discuss ways to assassinate Arthur. However, Mari and Mari too catch them. The men try to flee, but Mari too quickly deploys a net, trapping them. In another estate, Maynard curses in frustration as he realizes he's running out of hired assassins to use. Meanwhile, Arthur rests his head on Mari's lap, musing aloud that humans are unreliable and that all he truly needs is Mari, as he still believes she's just a robot. Nearby, Mari too begins her recharging process. He remembers that Mari also requires charging, so he hands her a double-A battery with a fond smile, saying it's her favorite type. Curious, he asks how she recharges because he'd like to see it himself. Mari panics internally, realizing she has no idea how to fake it. In desperation, she places the battery in her mouth and pretends to recharge. Roy, watching from the doorway, feels certain their secret will be exposed. But when Arthur mutters how adorable Mari looks while charging, Roy realizes how dumb Arthur can be with Mari. Later, Arthur tells Roy that security in the manor seems too relaxed lately. Roy explains that it's mainly because Arthur keeps firing employees on impulse. He suggests that Arthur take a break, pointing out that his father also used to rest when managing the company, though he leaves out that Arthur's father often spent that rest with women. Arthur considers the advice and asks Mari if she has a lover priority mode. Mari freezes in shock as Arthur and Roy both wait for her response. Soon after, Mari finds herself accompanying Arthur into town, awkwardly attempting to act as his lover. She robotically declares that she loves him, thinking it's a failure, but Arthur is secretly delighted. He tells her to stop calling him master and to speak more casually when in this mode. Though it takes effort, Mari manages to call him by his name, making Arthur's heart skip a beat. As they walk, Mari recalls her teacher's advice that to become strong, one must learn from someone strong. Applying this logic, she decides that to be a perfect lover, she must observe real couples. She spots a couple nearby, watching as the girl invites her boyfriend for tea. Mimicking her, Mari invites Arthur to have tea as well, choosing the same shop the couple enters. Noticing the girl hugging her boyfriend, Mari tries to imitate it, accidentally crushing Arthur in her overly strong embrace. Once seated, Mari apologizes, but her focus remains on the couple. When she sees the girl feeding her boyfriend, she realizes she can do the same easily. Arthur finds her actions oddly charming. He takes her hand and gently guides the treat to his mouth. To thank her, he also hand feeds her a battery, shocking everyone nearby who assumes they are witnessing an act of domestic abuse. They eventually leave the cafe, with Mari's gaze still locked on the couple in front of them. She watches how affectionate they are. Arthur, unaware that they are following anyone, notices a few small boats by the river. Seeing his gaze, Mari reminds him that she might break down if she falls into the water, hiding the fact that she cannot swim. A worried expression crosses Arthur's face as he realizes Roy might take her away if she malfunctions. As Arthur reflects on his suggestion, Mari continues observing the couple. This time, she sees the girl giving her boyfriend a small gift. Mari reasons that such gestures must be part of what makes couples happy. She sees the two share a kiss and quickly decides that is one thing she cannot imitate. She gently plucks a four-leaf clover from the grass and presents it to Arthur, saying that it's a gift meant to bring him happiness. Arthur remains silent, causing Mari to think her offering must be worthless. Arthur carefully takes the clover from her hand and tells her that sincerity matters more than the price of a gift. As they stroll through the park, they notice how nearly every couple is holding hands. Arthur hesitantly asks if they can do the same and gently shows her how. Mari overhears someone remark about how many couples there are that day and starts to wonder if Arthur will someday meet a kind girl. By nightfall, Arthur brings her to an old church and admits to visiting it often with his parents. Suddenly, he asks if he can kiss her. Mari freezes, her expression blank but her mind in a panic. She knows that she is supposed to allow it, but she feels uneasy. Just as Arthur leans in, Mari spots a projectile flying toward them. She moves quickly, pulling him out of harm's way. From the corner of her eye, she spots movement on the church roof and tells Arthur to stay where he is while she handles it. She comes face to face with Noah, who seems more intrigued by her abilities than by his target. He casually asks if she is Arthur's girlfriend, but Mari insists she's only his attendant. As she attacks, she realizes how effortlessly Noah blocks and dodges. His composure and speed make it clear that he is no ordinary opponent. Mari hears Arthur calling out to her. She turns to tell him to stay back, but Noah suddenly appears behind her and declares that he likes her. With a quick push, he sends her off the roof. Mari realizes she is falling, but before she can hit the ground, Arthur catches her just in time. She apologizes for letting Noah escape, silently scolding herself for failing both as Arthur's protector and as his supposed lover. As her thoughts spiral with guilt, Arthur leans in and plants a gentle kiss on her cheek, saying that their real kiss can wait until she enters lover mode again. Mari warns him that she cannot promise to use that mode often since it consumes a large amount of battery. Hearing this, Arthur's expression darkens and he quietly calls Roy to come pick them up. The next day at school, Mari's mind keeps drifting back to Noah. She vows to herself that she will finish him off the next time they meet. Her thoughts are interrupted when the teacher announces a new transfer student, and Noah cheerfully introduces himself in front of the class. Outside, Maynard mutters that he hopes Noah can finally get the job done. Back in class, Noah quickly becomes popular with the girls, his charm winning them over with ease. Marty wastes no time and leaves the room, determined to find Arthur and warn him that an assassin has infiltrated their school. As she hurries down the hallway, Noah suddenly appears next to her, asking if she will attend his welcome party. Without hesitation, Mari attacks him, declaring that no one invited her. Noah deflects her strikes with ease and counters, remarking that people are afraid of her because of her lack of emotion. He grabs her face, saying he wants to twist that expressionless look with pain and that he fell for her the moment they met. Mari breaks free, convinced that he is a psychopath. When she demands to know his purpose, Noah reveals a thick stack of documents, photos, and records of her past as a trained fighter. Every trace of that life should have been erased by Roy when she assumed her role as a robot maid. Noah explains that his real gift to her is the time and effort he spent uncovering her secrets. Mari's stomach turns at his words, finding his obsession disturbing. He then asks why she chose to hide behind the identity of a robot maid. Mari asks Noah what he truly wants from her, and he replies with a disarmingly innocent smile that he only wants to get along. Before she can respond, Arthur appears, demanding to know what business Noah has with Mari. Noah casually mentions that he was just looking at some interesting photos. Fearing that Arthur might see, Marty quickly turns around and pretends to play along with Noah's act. Noah then places a hand on Marty's shoulder, smugly claiming that it seems she prefers him over Arthur. The statement ignites Arthur's anger, and he tells Noah to remove his hand, declaring that Marty dislikes him. Noah asks Marty if that is true. Thinking fast, Marty responds that she simply wants to remain on good terms with him because he holds valuable information. Noah appears delighted by her answer and boldly declares that Marty now belongs to him. Arthur, frustrated by the entire exchange, accuses Noah of filling her head with nonsense. He challenges Noah to a duel, with the prize being Marty herself. Chaos suddenly erupts as a group of chickens race past them, followed closely by a few panicked students. Toby hurriedly explains that 7 chickens from the research lab have escaped. Sensing an opportunity, Noah snaps his fingers and suggests that their duel be settled by whoever catches the most chickens. Arthur agrees, while Toby assumes they are simply helping him recover the escaped animals. Arthur catches one with ease. A few girls nearby notice his skill and begin to whisper admiringly. Unbothered by the attention, Arthur remarks that animals are far more trustworthy than human beings. The statement makes Mari quietly worry about how deeply his distrust for people runs. After gently placing the chicken into a cart that already holds 2 others, he turns to Mari and tells her to allow him to protect her this time when she offers to help him. The girls watching from afar swoon at his words and the way he handles her so carefully. Hearing a panicked chicken, he immediately runs off in pursuit. Meanwhile, Noah takes a different approach, asking nearby students to help him find and catch the remaining chickens. Marty calls out that his tactics are unfair, but Noah merely reminds her that they never establish any rules against seeking help. He soon spots 3 chickens huddled nearby and attempts to approach them, but the birds instantly scatter in all directions. Watching the scene unfold, Marty concludes that even the animals can sense how unhinged Noah truly is, no matter how charming he tries to appear. Noah decides to use one of his assassination tools, skillfully capturing all 3 chickens in one motion and matching Arthur's current total. A female student then informs him that another chicken has been spotted in the garden in front of the cafeteria. Noah immediately heads there, only to find Arthur already in pursuit of the same bird. Sensing the tension between them, the chicken darts into the thick bushes, making it nearly impossible for Arthur to keep track of it. Noah, however, quickly pinpoints its location with his trained eyes and sprints after it. Arthur follows close behind, unwilling to lose. Watching from a distance, Marvy grows anxious that Arthur might fall behind. Thinking fast, she climbs a nearby tree to gain a better vantage point and begins calling out directions to guide him. Just as she spots the chicken's hiding place and calls out to Arthur, the branch beneath her snaps, sending her plummeting into the lake below. Arthur immediately abandons the chase, diving into the water to rescue her. Noah stops in confusion, glancing between the chicken and the direction Arthur has gone. Under the water, Margus sinks helplessly until Arthur reaches her and pulls her to safety. He lays her gently on the grass, frantically assuring her that he will call Roy to repair her right away. Though Mari keeps her eyes closed, she can hear the panic in his voice and feel his trembling hands. Despite believing she has failed him as both a protector and a companion, Mari feels deeply moved by his concern. When a single tear from Arthur lands on her cheek, she opens her eyes and tells him that she is fine. Just then, a student announces that Noah has already secured the final chicken. Noah approaches with the bird in his arms, but instead of gloating, he declares Arthur the real winner because he chose to abandon the contest to save what truly mattered to him. As Noah walks away, Mari and Arthur quietly return to the manor, where Roy immediately scolds Mari for her recklessness. Even though it was Mari who nearly drowned, it is Arthur who ends up falling ill. After the school incident, Roy threatens to kill Mari because Arthur caught a cold after trying to save her. She has been hiding her true identity as a human the entire time, and she was doing okay until Noah managed to dig up her past. Roy is surprised. He lets go of Mari, saying that such a thing is impossible since he made sure to destroy her past. Mari states that the most important thing to do is to make sure Arthur recovers and promises to serve him to the best of her abilities. Roy tells her to follow him because he has something for her. He shows her a briefcase and says that Arthur's father used it as a nursing set and always recovered because of it. However, Roy admits that he's actually not sure what's inside. Moments later, Mari finds Arthur attempting to work in his study. She notices that he's struggling and tries to get him to stop by taking his laptop away. She insists that he rest, but Arthur weakly argues against her since he has a lot of student council work to finish. Before he can argue further, he has a fit of coughing, causing Mari to urge him to rest again. However, he still insists that he must complete his tasks first. He says he was chosen to take responsibility and must live up to expectations because people rely on him. Mari is left speechless by his determination and can only watch as Arthur wobbles out of his study to retrieve some documents. Watching him, Mari decides it's time to use the nursing kit. She opens the case and is shocked by its contents. Arthur is still looking for the documents when Mari calls his name. He turns to see Mari clad in a nurse's outfit. Mari is still confused that the nursing kit contained a uniform, but if it works, she won't complain. Arthur is too stunned at the sight to react as she carries him away to his room. She pins him down on the bed, asking him again to rest. Arthur thinks he might be dreaming of Mari in a nurse's outfit due to his fever, but then he also considers the possibility that this is Mari's nursing mode. He convinces himself it's just that, refusing to admit he's being a perv. He decides to agree with her, and Mari leans down to press her forehead against his to feel how bad his fever is. Arthur grows nervous and asks Mari how she can measure temperature, since what she just did seems very human-like. Mari realizes she acted out of instinct and quickly covers it up by claiming she has a temperature sensor on her forehead. Mari tells him that his temperature is high and that it's best if he lets her wipe his sweat off. Without complaint, Arthur removes his shirt. He tells her to do what she needs, and Mari reminds herself that she is simply a robot fulfilling her duty. She manages to wipe down his front without issue, but when she wipes his back, she's shocked to see it covered in scars. Arthur admits that he doesn't let people see his back because those scars will haunt him forever. Gently, Mari wraps her arms around him from behind, promising that as long as she serves him, she will never allow harm to come to him again. She doesn't let him see the tears in her eyes as she silently prays that she will be the only one to see him this vulnerable. Arthur's heart races, convinced that he must be dreaming. Meanwhile, two assassins manage to infiltrate the estate. They are confident they can kill Arthur since, according to their intel, he is sick and in critical condition. Mari appears behind them, and one of the assassins is pleasantly surprised, thinking she's a cosplay nurse. Without hesitation, Mari kicks him, immediately knocking him out. The other attacks, but she knocks him out using one of the estate's ornaments. She drags the two bodies away to dispose of them and causes the last assassin to fall from a window. Mari apologizes to Arthur for the noise but reassures him that she has taken care of all threats and that he can rest. From his place on the bed, Arthur smiles at her and takes her hand, saying that he feels at peace because Mari is with him and that she's the only one he can show his vulnerable side to. He admits that he pretends to be strong in public, even though he hates people who lie the most. Mari feels guilty because she's lying to him, but the desire to stay by his side is stronger than her guilt. She wonders what these feelings mean since she finds it strange to be this attached. Elsewhere, Maynard looks for Noah, only for Noah to sneak up behind him and startle him. When Noah asks what the club is for, Maynard swings it wildly, claiming he brought it because Noah always spooks him. After he calms down a little, he asks Noah if he brought the item he had promised. Noah tosses him Arthur's phone, and Maynard immediately smashes it, ensuring the video will never be seen by the public. Noah tells him that now they can easily kill Arthur without fear of getting caught, but Maynard instructs him to bring Arthur alive because he wants to do the honors of killing him himself. A few days later, with Arthur finally recovered, Carmia High School holds its anniversary party. This year, it's a costume party, and Arthur welcomes the guests, thanking them for their participation. Mari watches his opening remarks, grateful that Arthur managed to recover in time to host the event. After his speech, Arthur approaches Mari and asks if she's tired. He then hands her several double-A batteries so she can recharge whenever she feels exhausted. She thanks him, even though she doesn't really have any use for them. Noah then greets them, showing off his vampire outfit for the occasion. He boasts that the entire class loved his costume, then notices that Mari is dressed as a maid. He immediately hugs her and calls her cute, angering Arthur, who asks nearby guests if they have anything he can hit Noah with. Before Arthur can commit a crime, a senator calls for his attention. Arthur immediately greets the senator and tells Mari that he needs to entertain him for a while. Once Mari is left with Noah, he complains that he's bored and decides to look for some food. Mari decides she needs to silence Noah. She approaches the buffet table and notices someone in a vampire costume, scolding him for talking too much. The student looks shocked, and Mari realizes that the person isn't Noah but someone wearing a similar costume. The student then tells Mari that it was Noah who gave him that costume, and it's not just him but several other students as well. Mari realizes that Noah predicted her attempt to kill him and cleverly concealed himself by dressing multiple students in the same outfit. She immediately calls Roy to ask where Arthur is. Roy tells her to follow his directions, and Mari quickly darts off to find Arthur. Arthur and the senator are chatting when Noah suddenly injects him with something that causes him to faint. The senator apologizes and flees the scene. Noah becomes slightly distracted and doesn't notice Arthur pull out a taser until he feels the shock. His gloves manage to conduct the electricity so he isn't fully stunned, and he tries to subdue Arthur with a kick. Arthur manages to block it but struggles since he can't see his attacker. Noah, impressed, explains that he injected Arthur with a sedative that weakens sight and hearing. Normally, people who don't fall unconscious would already be begging for their lives, but Arthur is the only one he's met who keeps fighting through the drug. He gives Arthur another dose, which finally knocks him unconscious. Noah tells the unconscious Arthur that the last dose was actually meant for Mari, as he had hoped to capture them both. Meanwhile, Mari is still being guided to Arthur's location by Roy. When she nears the room where the GPS signal is coming from, she tells Roy to prepare something. Entering the room, she notices it's unused. She spots another door and assumes Arthur is just behind it. As she moves toward it, Noah suddenly thrusts a knife at her neck, but Mari dodges it just in time. Noah is amused that Mari remains emotionless despite the attack. Mari kicks him away, then strikes again to disarm him. She tells Noah that because she couldn't defeat him the last few times, she decided to retrain herself. Noah looks at her with amusement and tells her that this time he'll also be serious. The two begin to fight, exchanging punches and kicks. Noah seems to be enjoying himself, saying that if they were to partner up, it would be fun to do contract killings. Mari is disgusted, replying that no one would want that job and that she is already Arthur's maid. Noah manages to pin her down and admits that he feels disappointed in her since he knows more about her than Arthur does and even declared his love despite knowing her past. He begins to choke her, trying to make her admit she can be happy with him. Mari stubbornly refuses and notices that his grip with his right hand is weaker. She uses that knowledge to break free and quickly dashes away. Noah realizes he's still feeling the effects of Arthur's stun gun. Mari then takes one of the double of batteries and launches it toward the chandelier, shattering the lights and plunging the room into darkness. Mari tries to reach the door where she believes Arthur is, but Noah announces that her little trick won't work because he's used to seeing in the dark. He spots Mari and uses a chain whip to pull her closer. However, as the figure draws near, he realizes it isn't Mari. Mari too easily breaks his weapon and punches him. The real Mari compliments her counterpart, then leaves Mari too to handle Noah while she rescues Arthur. She finds him very weak but with no external injuries. She helps him up and they begin to make their escape. She calls out to Mari too to announce their retreat, but instead feels Noah's hand grab her. Mari turns and sees Noah, who she thinks looks like a zombie. Then she notices Mari too shattered in pieces nearby. Enraged, she elbows Noah, and because he's already weakened, he falls back. Noah tells Mari that he knows she loves Arthur, but insists it will never work because Arthur loves the robot version of her. He claims Arthur will never love her once he learns she's human. He goes on to say that Mari isn't the type to be loved anyway since she's been shunned and hated since childhood. Noah continues to mock her, saying she's doomed to walk a lonely, unloved path. To her surprise, Arthur suddenly covers her ears, telling her not to listen to him. Even Noah is shocked since Arthur shouldn't be able to stand with the amount of drugs he was injected with. Arthur, still struggling to see clearly, moves toward Noah and orders him to face him. Mari is touched, not expecting Arthur to care or think about her. She jumps in between them and attacks Noah, silently promising to always stay by Arthur's side. When she returns to Arthur's side, she sees that he's already unconscious. She looks at him fondly, thinking about how hard he always tries to protect her. Mari realizes that Arthur has made her feel so many new emotions. Softly, she confesses her love to his unconscious form. After the incident, Mari returns to school. The class notices that Noah isn't attending, and Mari knows it's because of the fatal wound she gave him. However, she's shocked when she leaves the classroom and finds Noah standing right in front of her, heavily bandaged. Noah tells her to take it easy, explaining that he can't do any assassination work due to his injuries. Instead, he asks if she'll be able to keep up her facade now that she's aware of her feelings. He warns her that love built on lies is doomed to end tragically. Then he whispers that she can always run to him. Arthur suddenly appears nearby and Noah greets him as if nothing's wrong. He claims he simply fell and got injured but heard Arthur was also a victim of an attack. Arthur eyes him suspiciously and tells Noah that during the attack, he heard Noah's voice. Noah casually claims Arthur must have imagined it and leaves to do other business. Margie moves closer to Arthur and notices he seems to be in a good mood. Arthur smiles and says it's because he had a good dream while he was unconscious, and he hopes that someday it will come true. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss new episodes every week.